everyone, and welcome back to Sauti Briefs, where we discuss current conservation topics in Kenya and Africa. My name is Natasha Nyangara, and before we proceed with today's episode, a kind reminder to follow us on all our social media pages and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you're up to date with all our latest content. Without further ado, let's do this. On the 19th of July, the Nairobi National Park and the rest of Kenya celebrated the birth of rare twin Masai giraffes born within the conservation area. This is an extremely rare occurrence around the world, with experts reporting that such twin births among giraffes occurs at a rate of 1 in every 280,000. The last twin births in Kenya before the NNP duo occurred in October 2014 in the Masai Mara National Reserve. This event was captured by tour operator Andreas Nausenberger during one of his regular safaris. In the continental context, twin giraffes were born in December 2020 in Port Alfred, Eastern Cape, South Africa, at the Riverview Waterfront Estate, a first for the country. Scientists believe that only a quarter of giraffe babies survive to adulthood due to high predation rates. In light of this, Honorable Najib Balala, Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife, directed Kenya Wildlife Service officials to keep a close eye on the twin giraffes with the aim of securing them a fighting chance. While they do not share the stage with Kenya's infamous Big Five, these iconic giants are an essential part of the ecosystem and remain one of the most photographed animals in the wild. They have stood tall in breathtaking majesty and splendor over the vast open savanna bushland across the country for centuries. Giraffes were classified as vulnerable to extinction on the IUCN's Red List of Threatened Wildlife in 2016. According to the organization, the Masai giraffe, also known as the Kilimanjaro giraffe because it is the world's tallest species, has experienced a shocking 50 to 63% decline in population over the last 3 decades. Only in August 2019 did the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species agree to protect giraffes for the first time by regulating international trade in giraffe parts like hides, bones, and meat, recognizing that the majestic species have been silently going extinct for years. According to the National Wildlife Census 2021, Kenya has a population of approximately 13,530 Masai giraffes, which are primarily found in the southern part of the country, including Nairobi, with a stronghold in the Amboseli Conservation Area. Some experts believe that this is an improvement over the population statistics from 2015. However, they attribute much of the apparent growth to better surveying techniques rather than a significant increase in numbers, demonstrating that more deliberate and effective conservation efforts are still needed to help raise the giraffe populations. The Masai giraffe is a legendary transboundary traveler known for roaming hundreds of kilometers across landscapes in neighboring countries. Scientists previously believed that there was only one species of giraffe, with 9 subspecies spread across the continent. In 2016, the Giraffe Conservation Foundation and other partners conducted collaborative research that suggested otherwise by first introducing the concept of 4 distinct species of giraffes, including the Masai giraffe. This new taxonomy is now backed up by the most comprehensive genomic-level analysis of giraffe relationships, which confirms these findings. Land conversion for cultivation and infrastructure development is reducing the once vast territory of the Masai giraffe. As human settlements expand in these wildlife-rich areas, resource competition makes it more difficult to preserve viable and ecologically functional wildlife populations. Simultaneously, local markets for bushmeat and giraffe parts are emerging, and poaching is emerging as a serious threat to the tallest land mammal. Aside from improving the management of enclosed giraffe populations, there is a need to focus on empowering wildlife coexisting communities to adapt their livelihoods and prevent further habitat and population declines. All conservation stakeholders must also encourage and promote the wildlife monitoring and wildlife law enforcement as a viable career option for Kenyans in order to engage more citizens in positive conservation interactions and foster a sense of responsibility and duty of care for these animals. Uvumbuzi Africa congratulates the NNP on this outstanding achievement, and we wish the twins a long flourishing life. Shifting our focus to the broader East African region, the Inaugural Africa Protected Areas Congress, APAC, was held in Kigali, Rwanda from the 18th to the 23rd of July. It was the first continental gathering of African leaders, citizens, and interest groups to discuss the role of protected areas in conserving biodiversity and providing ecosystem services that support human welfare and livelihoods. The IUCN conference themed For People and Nature aimed to orient Africa's protected and conserved areas within the broader objectives of economic development and community well-being. During the 6-day Congress, delegates identified priority actions to strengthen Africa's protected and conserved areas in a just, equitable, and fair manner. It provided a platform for youth conservation voices to be heard, indigenous peoples' work was recognized and urged to be given more space, and African governments were prompted to make deliberate domestic investments in protected area conservation. More than 80 countries were represented, with over 2,300 delegates from government, enterprise, indigenous communities, and conservation organizations. According to the IUCN's Director General, Dr. Bruno Oberle, the APAC has formed an unprecedented and diverse coalition to strengthen protection and conservation that includes government and civil society stakeholders such as youth, indigenous peoples, and local communities, as well as protected area directors and rangers. Speaking during the conference, CS of Tourism and Wildlife, Honorable Najib Balala, addressed the issue of human-wildlife conflict and the direct effect it has on people, emphasizing that compensation as well as solutions to mitigate the impact of elephant destruction was a pressing issue for Kenya. This is in light of the recent fatal clashes between security forces and demonstrators opposing the human-wildlife conflict. On the 23rd of July, the conference culminated in the adoption of the Kigali Call to Action and the launch of a Pan-African Conservation Trust, in which African governments were urged to approve its establishment in order to help mobilize resources for the conservation of Africa's protected areas. The initiative seeks $200 billion for the Pan-African Trust Fund to ensure long-term funding for all of Africa's 8,500 protected and conserved areas, including funds to compensate communities affected by human-wildlife conflict. The Congress also marked a significant milestone for Rwanda as it joined the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Green List to achieve higher standards of nature and wildlife conservation. The Memorandum of Understanding between Rwanda and the IUCN will allow the country to benefit from the standards in terms of conserving biodiversity and ensuring the ongoing maintenance of national parks and other protected areas. Notably, Kenya was the pilot country for testing the IUCN Green List in its early stages in 2014, with many partners including KWS, KWCA, MMWCA, WWF, East African Wildlife Society, Conservation International, Ecotourism Kenya, and Laikipia Wildlife Forum contributing to the process. In our usual style, we'd like to give a special shout out to two of Kenya's rangers, Ali Hassan Ali and Daniel Popote Ole Sapolai. They were among global award winners of the International Ranger Award for their extraordinary commitment to protecting nature and helping local communities. The two Kenyans were among the 12 individuals and ranger teams from around the world who were honored at the IUCN's APAC Congress in Kigali out of a large pool of nominees from over 43 countries. Uvumbuzi Africa congratulates Mr. Ali and Mr. Sapolai for this prestigious award. Keep up the good work. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions about the topics discussed today, feel free to engage with us in the comment section below, or you could simply send us a direct message at any of our social media platforms at Uvumbuzi Africa across the board. Asante sana, till next time.